Alright, we're back with you. And we've just inserted our main shaft. Well, now that I know that I have the shaft all the way down into that bottom bearing, I'm going to rotate my bottom gear to where I can see the hole going all the way through it. And rotate it so it lines up there. Get it around this side here. Now, it happens to be that I had my shaft at about the perfect spot. And if I can get zoomed in here, you can see the red blanket on the back side of this gear. Let me get my orientation going here. Now I've lost myself here. Alright, so now I'm not so lucky. Let me try this again. Here we go. Where's my hole? There it is. Alright. So now looking through the bottom, you can look through that hole and you see straight through. So you know you've got it lined up right. I'm going to set it aside. Don't want to disturb it. We're going to go a wider angle here, a little bit wider for you. I'm going to get my Allen wrench and I'm going to put my bolt on the end of it. You could also take a pair of tweezers, hemostats at this point, just to get it started, because you want to make sure you get it to the right point. Let me bring this other lamp a little closer here. We get a little more light on the subject for you. So you turn the heli up to the side, find your hole down there, start your screw. Now it's not threaded here, but you may try turning the screwdriver as if you're screwing it in, just to help guide it through the two holes. And now if we rotate the bottom gear, we'll see here that the bolt is sticking out the back side. It's ready to accept the nut. Okay? So now here's a little bit of the tricky part, is getting this nut on here. Let's find one of our nylon nuts. You could use a set of hemostats to pinch down on the nut. Let's move this lamp back. You could use a set of hemostats to pinch down on the nut. Problem is the hemostats really insulate your feeling. So if you're not really haven't done a lot of this, I wouldn't recommend doing it, because if you cross thread this bolt on the other side while holding this nut with the hemostats, you're not going to necessarily feel that nut tugging. Holding it with the tweezers, if I start to turn this screw and it starts cross-threading that nut, it's going to probably snap it out of the jaws of the tweezers, and then I know at least well before time, hopefully, that I've got a problem. So I am going to first start by taking my screwdriver, and I'm going to get the tip of it, of my my Allen wrench, I'm going to get it set in the screw so it's ready to go. And then I'm going to look up underneath the heli and I'm going to get my nut. Oops, there it went. See how easy it was to turn it? And it'll save you. Now you may drop it a few times, but it'll save you from cross-threading it. And now I can't see because of the lighting, so I've got to turn that sideways. Get it straight here again. Alright. Like I said, this bottom bolt can be an aggravation. Now I'm sure there's probably a better way to skin this cat without getting fur all in your mouth, but I haven't quickly thought of one yet. So I'm going to go ahead and do the hemostats because I'm used to it and I don't want to keep wrestling this thing here. So I'm going to get it right in the tip of the jaws and lock down on it. Make sure I'm locked on it too, because these hemostats will cause it to go flying out. So now this is going to be much, much easier for me to do. In fact, we're going to rotate the heli here and turn this shaft around this way so we've got less tail boom. I'm going to get my Allen wrench started. If I can find this bolt head. And now we're going to reach up under here, start screwing my Allen wrench, find my nut. Now in this case, I'm sensitive little fingers, I guess. I kind of felt it not wanting to thread up correctly there the first time. So I just pulled off with the nut and tried again, and now we've got it in there and my bolt's tight. And check the back side, that looks good. Spin it around, that looks good. So we appear to be good to go there with the bolts at the bottom. So we've got that in. We're going to slip on our main collar here real quick. Actually slide it right back off. I'm going to spin it around to where I can get the flat side. That's going to accept our locking screw. I'm going to spin that around so it's there. To the bottom of this, oh shucks. Alright, drawing an absolute blank yet again on this cotton picking. Any rate, the bottom of it's got more of a bevel, the top's a little bit more rounded. You want the rounded side up towards the top. The collar, geez, mini Christmas. Alright, I'm going to back out that Allen screw. As I've said in other vids before, Loctite messy bottles, that's all the Loctite I need on this screw, is just a little bit on that thread. Put our cap back on it, and I'm going to even take my finger and I'm going to roll that screw on my finger just to get the Loctite off the tops of the threads, because all you needed is down in those threads. A lot of people they use way too much Loctite. So now I've got this lined up to where my hole is lined up with the flat spot on the main shaft, and I want to screw my Allen screw, my locking screw back in. Now I'm going to get it close, then I'm going to tight, back it out a little bit, because I want to get it to where I can feel the main shaft under it. To know that I'm really biting on the right spot. So now I'm rotating it back and forth, or side to side, and now I'm going to try it up and down, and I know I'm in the groove. I'm going to get it about middle or so, or let it fall, excuse me. I'll let it rest right there on the top of the Heli. If I can get my wrench. And then tighten it down. So now we've got not too snug of a fit, but a good fit there. I didn't want to push down on it, I just let it set there. I let its own weight, dictate where it was. I'll just show you here again. Let me get my shaft turned here. Okay, I just let the nut rest there on its own. I'm not pushing down on it because I don't want to make it tight up against the top of the chassis. Then it'll cause resistance. I just want it tight on the shaft, and that's it. We've got smooth action, no play in it. So now we're ready to put our head unit back on. Anti-rotation pin's going to go into the anti-rotation guide. We've got in the bottom here, you've got the ball. If the ball rocks off to the side, just make sure it's kind of straight before you start this process. And you want to guide, when you start it, the first two things we're going for is the swash plate and then this middle unit. But again, we've got to tilt this back, so we're going to be able to get the anti-rotation guide pulled back and on. This middle component in here and the anti-rotation guide, they hit at about the same time, so there's maybe a little bit of a trick to it, but it's not that bad. They're on. Now I'm going to insert the shaft into the top of the head block, and that's done. What I am going to do, zoom in so you can join me on this, we're going to back it up just a little bit, because now I need to find my hole in my main shaft. I need to find out where that is. I'm going to turn my rotor a little bit, get my set screw back here to where I know it should kind of be, and there's my hole. We see it on the front side. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it again. I want to get the hole to where it's at the side of the Heli, just to make it easier to see. And then we've got it lined up now. Our upper hole that the bolt's got to go all the way through, we have it above the main shaft hole, and we're taking a YouTube break.